Hey, good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic, a special edition where we have the founder and CEO. Hey, good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. Did it again. Special edition. Bam. I'll get that shut down in the background. I always have YouTube open in the background, and then it interferes with my StreamYard. But we have the founder and CEO of MyPillow, Mike Lindell, on the show with us live today, along with another special guest. So I'm very excited about this show. Since Mike is on, I got to mention my sponsor, MyPillow, MyPillow.com. Use promo code Lumberjack for big savings. They have reinstituted free shipping for this audience. So go over there and check out MyPillow.com. Without further ado, I want to bring in these two fine patriots. So first off, I'm going to bring in Mike. Mike, good to see you.
Great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for coming. And then let's bring in George. And there's George, as you all, my audience knows George. They love George. He's the best. Do you know that, Mike, real quickly, do you know George is going elk hunting with me?
Really? I got quite an elk hunting story for you. I'll have to tell you when we have more time.
Oh, my gosh. We could totally go down the elk hunting road. I am all about that. It's my favorite.
Everyone else did elk hunting except me.
Do you bow hunt, Mike, or do you rifle?
Rifle, and I only went twice in my life, but it's quite a story.
Did you get a big one, or?
Oh yeah. I got.
Let's just tell the story. Let's just start there.
No, it takes way too long to tell it. It would take up the whole show.
Oh, I could totally get with that. But there's one thing I love talking, it's elk hunting. But George would be like out, he'd be sidelined. Hey, everybody, do me a quick favor, smash that like, chat in with where you're from, share the stream out there, and we'll get this rolling. But Mike, I want to just start out by asking you a question. I mean, I don't know of really anybody, Donald Trump's up there as well, who has been more attacked, more maligned, more mischaracterized than you. And so when I asked my kids, I said, what questions would you ask Mike Lindell? My son, Jeremiah, said, ask Mike about the difficulties he's had to deal with and how he stands up to that pressure. And I must admit that you and Donald Trump, I think most people would wilt under the kind of pressure that you're under on a daily basis, both of you. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and yeah, with our great real president, him and I, we encourage each other so much when we do talk and get together, and it's become a great friendship that way. That courage is contagious, and his courage is amazing. And but for me, I mean, it's my. I think if you read my book, What Are the Odds from Crack Addict to CEO? I used to be a former crack addict, and addiction's a lot of work back then. I'll tell you. I mean, but all the stuff that I had and the situations I was in where there seemed to be no hope, I think that was God preparing me for such a time as this. And, God always got me through these things. And that, that's, I think without my faith, I would have crumbled a long time ago, because it's, as we speak here today, this is, MyPillow has been attacked. My company, for me, I don't mind getting attacked. I can take it. But when you're attacking, when it can lose them, when you get, you're teetering on the edge of a employee-owned company that has done nothing wrong, and they have families, and they have, children, grandchildren, and families that made in the USA, and I see them every day, and it's just that's disturbing. That makes it hard. But I can't unsee what I've seen. I can't unknow what I know, and sometimes gets. I guess I've only had fear the one time, and that was it was after the January 6th, and on January 9th, when I was given all the evidence that showed that this was an attack on our country, and with these electronic voting machines and everything else. Well, I tried to get that to the White House. That was on January 15th of 21. And if you remember, I'm outside the White House with martial law papers that weren't even my papers. I've never even read them, right? So the attacks and the cancellations started coming. But at that time, I thought, I just need to get the word out there. And these attacks kept coming and coming and coming. And it got to be right before, it was right towards the end of January in 21. It was before the impeachment trials were about 2 weeks away. And I heard from my senator friend that they were not going to allow evidence in, or they were going to not show it to the country. I imagine at that point it'd be like the OJ trials. I'd show all my evidence and the whole world would get to see it, and it'd be over. We saved the country. God gave me this evidence. I just thought it'd be, that would be it. Well, when he called me and said, not only are they not going to show evidence, but the Republicans, they've got him talked into impeaching him, and he really thought that would happen. And at that moment, my blood ran cold, and I'm going, they're going to hang me. I'm going to be, after the impeachment, it's over for me. You're 9 days after January 6th, you're running around the White House with martial law papers. And so at that time, that fear came over me, and that I got on my knees and prayed, and I said, God, what do I do? That's when I heard loud and clear, do that movie. And that movie was called Absolute Proof, and it launched February 5th of 2021. 160 million people seen it in 4 days, including all those Republicans, which we sent it out to their neighbors, their families, their friends, so that at least it would plant some seeds of doubt in their head that, hey, there's something seriously wrong here. And but since that time, it's been one battle after another. I've been attacked. We've got deplatformed, you name it, debanked. I've been MyPillow lost almost 99% of its retailers. Shopping canceled.
Up here, Mike, in northern Minnesota, we have it's called L&M Fleet Supply. They still carry your pillows.
Yeah, there's some good ones out there yet, and they were the ones that do everybody like that. They just flourish. They're they're proud, proud to carry MyPillow. A lot of the hardware stores kept on with us, like Fleet and Farm and Menards and stuff, and they just can't keep them in stock. They're just, but they didn't succumb to the fear or the cancel culture where online, they were attacked online by bots and trolls trying to destroy MyPillow, and they were trying to destroy my voice. They've been trying to do that for 3 years. God gave me this big platform that's everybody's platform. And if they think if I would lose everything, which I have, I'm completely broke with every money I put into help saving the country. But they can't take my voice. They probably should have, when I was doing speeches back in the day, they probably should have aimed better. But what people need to realize, they've turned up the attacks since August. In August, I announced a plan to secure our elections. And when I did that, this has been the biggest attack. They went after MyPillow. We got debanked, merchant server leaving, all the vendors pushing their credit. It was like a run on a bank. And the media has not let up. The New York Times just did a thing on me today, and Rachel Maddow attacking me today. I've been called by CISA the #1 threat to democracy this country's ever seen, and I'm going,
really?
Why? Yeah, I go, why? Because I want to show people that we need to secure our elections and go to paper ballots hand counted.
Did like who from CISA said that? Was that not from the Chris Krebs days, or was that?
No, that was not Chris Krebs back in the day. He got fired he got let go for saying this is the most secure election in history, And 3 months later, he was on Morning Joe with Adam Schiff, and they asked him, what's the #1 threat to the United States? And he said, bar none, a cyber attack by China, right down to the local election.
I remember all of that.
3 months later, okay. Now, like CISA, they've actually done stuff in South Dakota where I have people on the ground, over 300,000 people in every state in the country, and our grassroots and stuff, and the people out there that are volunteering and doing everything. We had people twice they came to South Dakota and had these CISAs came there and said it straight out. The whole thing was anti-Mike Lindell. Quit listening to him. He's spreading conspiracy theories and he's a threat to our democracy. Well, I'll tell you what threat is. It's CISA. remember they blocked the Halden report in Georgia for 4 years. These
and
guys.
then they come out with it. They come out and they're like, "Oh, everything you said,
Exactly.
it was
He's
right."
not a conspiracy theorist. Okay,
Well,
wait.
I picked up two things from what you said. First of all, I did not know your relationship with Trump was you get together and talk about who got attacked more this week. It's like New York Times, MSNBC. I got that too. So that's great.
You know what I told him one time, George? I said, he'd call me and I don't know which indictment number it was, maybe 2 or 3. And I just remember the phone call. He calls me up. He wanted to know how what the public, what's going on with the people out there. And I said, sir, every time you get indicted or attacked, your polls go up. I said, pretty soon you're going to have more votes than voters like Pennsylvania. But we're in a time, and him and I have talked about it. We're in a time that, we were, you take him before he came down that escalator, and he said to his son Eric as they were going down, he says, well, now we're going to find out who our real friends are. And I'll never forget when Eric told me that, but he didn't change. He's the same person he was then, the American hero, entrepreneur, built, these massive, friends with even on the left, right, didn't matter. And I didn't change. I'm an ex-crack addict. I didn't change at all. I've because I had evidence. They have a hard time with me because I've been in the streets with nothing, and the American dream on steroids, and I didn't hide anything. I'm about as transparent as it comes. So they don't know how to attack me from the past. Oh, Mike Lindell was a crack addict. What is that? A news flash? Really? Wow.
Okay, wait. Jimmy Kimmel. I've made videos about you and Jimmy Kimmel because they are solid gold. This guy looks so vindictive and nasty. And to be perfectly frank, I mean, you've got a youthful energy to you. And I think it actually comes across really well, and people are more endeared.
Yeah, if you read those comments, it was just I don't believe in what Mike says, but I really like him. I like Mike.
Yes.
Never a single comment of someone going, I hate this guy. He's coming on here and taking these jokes.
Right. Well, yeah, and that's just it. And I'll take what you said. I want to refer to the president has a book he gave me about last week, and it's all these letters to Trump. It's a beautiful book that's put together, letters to Trump over the decades, right? And I remember him handing me the book, and he signs for me. He goes, Mike, here you go. And I looked at him, I said, how many people in this book had turned on you and betrayed you after you come down that escalator? He knew the number. It was like 27. He just said it right out. And he said, so these, it's a shame he did nothing other than run for president. You know what I mean? And
yes.
And for me, when I went on Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy was torn, believe it or not. Let's go back to the first time I was on Jimmy Kimmel was the spring of 21. Everybody told me, don't go on. And they also told Jimmy to not have me on. And why? Remember, Disney owns ABC that controls Jimmy's show. Well, the left, the uniparty, the evil out there, this was going to be the final fork in Mike Lindell. Okay, take out his voice. And when I went on there, guys, I went in the green room. Kendra and I were in the green room, and I heard that he had read my book, and I happened to have one of my books with me. So that gave me a piece. If you read my book, I just couldn't believe anybody could read my book and not be moved by it, right? The miracles in there and the things that have happened in my life that can happen in anyone's lives. Well, Jimmy, then we go on there, and if you remember, he started attacking me about crack cocaine and trying to compare me to Hunter Biden and the paranoias of crack. And I just took over. I said, you're missing one thing. When I found the Lord, when I quit everything by the grace of God overnight, and yes, there's horrible paranoias that go with it. It's a terrible, terrible disorder or addiction. And then I told my Lindell Recovery Network.org, everybody, by the way, and everybody can check that out. That Lindell Recovery Network, everybody, it's free and it's online. It's free. I thought that was going to be my whole calling because, to help people out of addiction. But anyway, when we went to a commercial, okay, we went to a commercial, and I turned to Jimmy Kimmel and I said, Jimmy, you've read my book here. I said, everything I'm saying is the truth. I'm as transparent as it comes. And I said, we need to unite this country and secure our elections, whatever. This wasn't about Donald Trump, about flipping about the election being stolen. This was about what I had found is, hey, these machines have to go. We've got to get to paper ballots and count. Anyway, I said, Jimmy, they even attacked you last summer for doing blackface in the 90s. And Jimmy looked at me and he said, but Mike, he said, the difference is I did something really bad. All you've done is back a man you believe in. And I'm going, whoa, that come out of his mouth, right? And now, as he kept asking questions, you guys, you might not be able to tell on TV, but he was torn. I mean, he was like, okay, I got to get through this question. Like, answer it right, Mike, And one of the questions he asked me, he said, if your friend Donald Trump had been selected, like you say Biden was, would you still be sounding the alarm? And I said, absolutely, I would. Now, after that, guys, the Washington Post and Politico came to Minnesota, and they went all over the place trying to get someone. Would Mike really be sounding the alarm? Would Mike really be sounding the alarm? They couldn't find one person to say, oh, he would, if his friend was in, he would for sure just put it aside. He wouldn't care. They couldn't find one. Even my one friend called me up and he felt really bad. His name is Paul, and he says, Mike, he's in a panic. He said, the Washington Post interviewed me and they said, are you ever going to give up on this? And I told him, no, they'd have to kill you. And I go, it's okay, Paul. I'm sure they thought of that. But the next time I was on Jimmy Kimmel, if you remember, was inside a claw machine. Okay.
Yes.
You haven't seen that,
that's what I did a video on. It was absolute gold. Oh,
Right.
It was gold. Hey, Mike, first though, I gotta take a break to mention our sponsor, MyPillow, MyPillow.com, promo code Lumberjack for big savings. And Mike, you guys just gave my audience back free shipping, so I gotta mention that. So right now, if you use promo code Lumberjack at MyPillow.com, you can get free shipping. So thanks for that, Mike.
And you guys also were putting we're going to do the percale sheets. This is a special, exclusive special. I knew I was coming on today. Ready for this, everybody? $26.98 for the queen, $29.98 for the king. We've never, it's the lowest price in history. We have an overstock special that we're doing on your show today, and plus all the other specials. But this is a special we're doing there, that we're going to do for your audience.
Hey, I got to mention, because I just so you my audience knows, before I came on, I asked my kids, I said, so I got the first question with Jeremiah, and then we've been going on that for a while, but I asked, and my daughter, Sarah, I asked all my kids, I said, what question would you ask Mike Lindell? And Sarah said, why pillows? And I know the story on that. You were solving a problem of other people that you saw with sleep problems and yourself. But what's interesting is my daughter, Rebecca, said, you know what? She said, you can let people know that it helped me with my sore neck, which then helped me with my headaches. Because my daughter, Rebecca, used to get terrible headaches, which stem from her sore neck and her MyPillow. And we take our pillows, Mike, everywhere. In fact, we take them elk hunting.
Right on.
Before you answer that, Mike.
And see, the reason MyPillow is different than anything. When I invented MyPillow, it was about problem solution. I wanted to have everything you would need to get I had problems with pillows. They'd go flat. You'd use your arm. You'd fold them, wake up with a dull headache or flip-flopping all night. And so first and foremost, I wanted something you could adjust, but it would stay there. Sleep is about height and temperature. I wanted it to stay cool. And then the bonuses, washing and drying and 10-year warranty, all that. Those are bonuses. It needs to work. And 83 million MyPillows later, 83 million we've sold them. That's because it works, because it helps people. And that's another special that you guys that your audience can get. I believe we have the MyPillow. I think it's the premium Giza one, the Giza premium cover. It's like 20. I'm just going to throw out 24 something for the queen, 29 something for the king. So these are the lowest prices in history using your promo code. And you guys got your own 1-800 number too, don't you?
Yeah, I don't have it up here, but we do.
Yeah, because you guys can always call the call center too and use that promo code.
Yeah, Mike's gonna answer. He's gonna answer that phone. Mike, you're gonna be manning the phone.
Hey, I did see Jonathan Tay. He's from Australia. He actually came over here, met George in Colorado, me in Minnesota. He came over and just spent the traveling around and seeing us guys. He's great, but he's like, international shipping, please. He still has your product. He gets it shipped to a place in Washington and then overseas to him.
Right. I think we have that. It's probably trendy though. I don't know. I know we used to, but it was available. I think you got to get that maybe by calling in. I don't know, so I can't say for sure.
I'll look up the 800 number. But George had a question for you, so I wanted to let him ask that.
Right. Yeah, well, I'm surrounded by 2 pillow salesmen. I don't know a better person than you, Mike, at selling pillows than Neil. He's magnificent. But my question was, what does your day-to-day look like? I mean, you're an extremely busy guy.
No.
What do you do every day?
Day to day for the last 3 years, my focus is when I get up, I want to save this country, and my focus is our election platforms because we lose everything.
I bet you, Mike, you go to sleep dreaming about election integrity.
Yeah, well, I try to, what's the plan? I'm leading so many people across the country now. We have so many different things going on, and it's like being a CEO of a big company. What I've done, but I will say this: over the last 3 months, it's been 90% trying to secure my company, MyPillow, because the attacks it was like, imagine that MyPillow being this giant ship and it's just getting blown full of holes and just attacked by things from all sides. And so I have really had to be reactive to that. And that's what they wanted. They wanted to keep me off the plan that I have, which everybody can go there at lindellplan.com, everybody. This is the plan that secures our election. This is what they're afraid of. And so my day consists of that. Now, do I still, and I, as much as I can, I was recently married this year or last year, and we try and, do as much as we can, but my family, they get attacked too and everything. So it's like, there's not a lot of time for, go out and clear your head because it's too, my phone's got to be there. If there's calls, we have 500 of my employees at MyPillow have my direct number. If there's a deviation out there, I need to hear about it. If there's a deviation out there, some news out in the country, one good thing, you got to duplicate it. If it's a bad thing, you got to stop the bleeding and then and tell others not to duplicate it. So it's very much, it's like being what I've done for a long time, an entrepreneur, a CEO, running these things, and you just kind of silo out each thing, micromanage, but yet macro manage at the same time. And now you say where the energy comes from. Well, I get good sleep because it's quality.
So does Donald Trump because he uses MyPillow.
Oh man, no, that's really important stuff. So you're the CEO of election integrity. If we really think about it.
And we've got the election. When I set up the electioncrimebureau.com, everybody, everything's fed into that. I have great people working for me there. I have the Cause of America. I have these different entities set up. You guys can get the Frank Social app. That's like our election app. You can go on the App Store and get the Mike Lindell Courage app. I have all these tools that are also set up so I don't have to. Back in the day, you go back 2.5 years, and it was me and one other guy taking phone calls from all over the country and going, this is important, this isn't important, and trying to sift through this stuff. Now it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, so it helps a lot having great people around me.
What year did you start MyPillow, Mike?
Started MyPillow, I invented it in 2004, and I was turned down at the box store. I turned down at the box stores right away after I invented. It took about a year to invent, and so I did home shows and fairs until 2011, and then I did my first infomercial then. But But at the same time, I didn't quit crack cocaine and stuff until January 16, 2009. By the grace of God, I was set free of the addictions, and so it was like a parallel track. One's here, one's here. I had if you read my book, I had a 20-year marriage that ended in 2007. We actually making the pillows in our living room, packaging them up, and they literally turned the lights out and the power out on our house, and it was just, my pillow was like a little dot, and you go through 2007 and 2008, and then on January 16, 2009, I asked God, I said, I want to wake up in the morning and never have the desire again. And I knew I had a big calling, now, did I think it was going to be where I'm at now? No, but when I woke up and the addiction was gone, or the desire was gone, and I spent the next 2 years, MyPillow was so much betrayal that they had sold the patent and everything else, and I getting it back. And I remember doing my first infomercial. I had a dream of an infomercial, and we all pooled our money, friends and family. I said, it's going to be the biggest infomercial in the world. And I didn't know infomercials don't work. It's just to go into the box stores. It's like you pay money to brand. I didn't have money to brand. And then it goes to box stores, which had already turned us down. But I didn't know that. But we pooled our money, and we went to film it in August of 2011. And these real producers came in from Hollywood, and I was doing my read the night before, and the guy texts this other guy. He said, this is the worst guy I've ever seen. He'll never make it on TV.
Well, that was cute.
Mike, what's really interesting? So I met one of your relatives at a home show. Actually, not a home show. It was a sports show down in the Twin Cities. It was like an RV and sports show. Right. And I was there because I wrote the book Resorts of Minnesota, the big coffee table book, and then I did Resorts of Wisconsin. And I was on a tour with these shows, and they would have me speak. And one of your relatives, oh man, I'm trying to remember how they were related to you, but I know they were your relative, and they were out selling at the show.
Right.
And they wanted to trade with me.
They all have a mustache going.
But
does
they
every single person in Mike's family have a mustache? If not, they're not related to Mike.
I don't know, but I can't remember all that well. But I just know I got the pillow from him because he wanted to barter for my book, because he wanted to sell pillows to the resorts in the book, and he wanted their back.
Yeah.
So what's really funny is I'm like, I agreed to barter with the guy just for this pillow, and honestly, I thought your pillows were a scam. I did. I thought, come on. I'm just telling you, I was kind of reluctant to do it because I'm like, it's just a pillow. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have been a MyPillow user ever since. In fact, after I got that pillow, then we went and bought one for my wife, and it was just the whole thing. I mean, MyPillow, now I've got everything. I've got the sheets. I've got everything. Right. So I did get the 800 number and shared that. Somebody wants you to run for vice president. I just saw that in my chat, Mike. So if they want you to be the vice president choice with Trump.
Yeah, I've been said that a lot. I'll tell you, we've got to secure our election platforms, and I'll do anything to help the country. I'd really like it once he's in there, like my election crime bureau. I believe that's set up now. It would be great. It would be great if the government then would have the election crime bill right in there as a part of Homeland Security, because it's a beautiful plug-in. I would love to be in charge of make sure our elections are secure going forward. Yeah.
I think, Mike, the perfect role for you is to make you the election czar. You know how Kamala is the AI czar, but it's just you, and every single day you're just beating the election integrity horse till death. Right. You're exposing every story, and you're that connected to the base. I think it'd be like perfect for you with what you already do now.
Right. Exactly. But we've got about 10 months left to get everything secure. We're making great progress. I always tell people, go to lindellplan.com. I tell people there's so much hope out there, so many great things going on. And but one of the things that surprised me most, people always ask me, well, what surprised you most about everything going on? And it's bar none, it was the uniparty Republicans, I can't believe getting blocked in all these states. Where it doesn't make sense. Where like, why wouldn't you want to secure our elections? Why wouldn't you want to go to paper ballots, hand counted? Why it just doesn't make sense. And it's like instead, they're getting to push back. Why can't we look at this stuff? And there's a lot of nonsensical things. And I think people, I've said over the last 3 years, yeah, I get a piece about it going, God's got his hand in all of this. And as things keep going here, even the bad things, I tell our real president all the time, even the bad things are helping people pour into this bucket of common sense, going, hey, if they're making decisions in our government to destroy everything, and it doesn't help any people, I don't care what party you're in or what liberal, conservative, don't matter. It's uniting the country, everybody. It's actually uniting the country going, hey, everybody wants a common sense solution. And everybody knows that solution is our real president because he's proved himself. You go back to December of 2019, all the things that manifested decisions he made, in spite of all the attacks, it manifested to help all of us in our physical lives here improve no matter where you started from. So, and people don't forget that, right? And I was just on the morning show this morning on Rachel Maddow when they were bad-mouthing me, or yesterday. She's sitting there going, now this president, he's talking about this, Biden has done great things to improve our economy like never before. And I'm going, how do people, I think people aren't getting brainwashed anymore. They're not getting brainwashed. They're going, this doesn't feel so good. And it's disgusting, but we've gotten past that. You asked me earlier in the show about the president and I getting attacked all the time. Well, the people see through that too. You can sit there like just the other day when a judge ruled in Minnesota, Mike Lindell owes another $5 million. His evidence is no good. This guy proved him wrong. You know what the people say that see that? Everybody, yep, Mike's evidence was 100% accurate. Another corrupt thing in court. Another corruption, corrupt. And that's what people see now because it's so nonsensical. When the Supreme Court ruled yesterday, 9-0, how nonsensical. You try and keep Colorado, one of the most evil Secretary of States that peace in this country's ever seen, and Jenna Griswold, and they vote 9-0, 9-0. We haven't had a 9-0 vote come out of the Supreme Court in a long time.
I know.
You're going to see a lot more of that, everybody. And I'm going to announce on your show, we've got something really big coming to the Supreme Court. And that's going to be March 15th. So put that on your calendar, everybody. This is the first time I've announced it. You guys, March 15th, this case, I've been telling everyone, we've got to get something there. They're starving for a case at the Supreme Court. Now, what this is it's basically, there would be, it's an appeal for them to say, hey, you can look at this evidence. You can look at this. So it's an appeal from actually one of the Arizona cases. But this is so important because no judge in the United States has ever looked at any of these things based on the merit of the evidence. And instead they do sanctions and standing, everybody. Does everyone want to know what those means? It means like when I asked to see inside a machine, because I have an $8 billion lawsuit against me, they told me I don't have standing, and they sanctioned my lawyers. Just for asking, you got to pay a fine. How dare you ask the court this? A waste of the court.
Yeah, this has been one of the craziest things. And we followed, so George and I, we've been following this for forever. And the other thing they always used was latches, right? You had no standing before and you were too late afterwards.
Right.
And I don't know, as we've followed all of this, Mike, I guess you have got to be watching what's going on in Georgia and taking a little bit of a victory lap on this now. Absolutely. You obviously did with the tinfoil hat. I saw that episode. It was great. Yeah. I made a video about that. It was fantastic. I enjoy your humor. But yeah, she said, just because you look into elections doesn't make you a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'm really as we watch all the corruption being revealed in Georgia. I just did another video this morning. Did you know this is brand new, hot off the presses? You people have to go check this video out. It's my last upload. But Nathan Wade, in that filing, everybody was focusing on the fact that there was this phone call and that the relationship had started prior. Do you know what the biggest reveal was in that court filing? Was that Nathan Wade, Terrence Bradley, was not representing him as his divorce lawyer.
Yeah.
He was
Nathan wrote his own divorce brief and then had Terrence Bradley file it. So Terrence should have really said everything.
So then Terrence Bradley is saying on stand that he has attorney-client privilege when he wasn't the attorney.
Wow.
Well, that's the rigged game we're playing. I mean, like Mike was saying earlier, when we had the impeachment hearings, the Senate would not allow the evidence about the things Trump was supposedly fighting against, the election integrity evidence. So if you convict someone or trying to convict someone of a crime, and they're not allowed to bring the evidence that says it was actually self-defense that I had to do this, it was self-defense, then you're just trying to convict them because of the sake of conviction. And but now I think it's turning back on them, because their hope was by prosecuting Trump, we tarnish his name forever. But Mike, did you see the latest poll that said Trump would win by an extra 2 points if he was convicted? So Lord, we're praying for a conviction now.
Right. Well, and here's the thing. You're right. Things have changed. At any other time in history, it's like the little boy that called wolf. They just keep lying and lying and lying. If there ever was anything real, nobody would believe it anyway. If they attacked me and said, Mike Lindell, he did this or this, even if I did it, it wouldn't matter. People wouldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Or if I was lying about evidence, Mike Lindell lied about evidence. Well, they would go, no, he didn't. You guys have been lying about him for this. You know what I mean? That's where we're at. People don't buy it anymore. They don't believe it. They know it's the opposite. They have flipped the truth on its head. They flipped evil to good and all this stuff. I think right now, like I say, the reason this Supreme Court thing that we're bringing there on the 15th of March is so important, because if they accept it or don't accept to look at it, remember, the Supreme Court has to accept it or not accept it. But what does it need? What does any case need? It needs the attention of the world. It needs mainstream media. It needs Fox News to talk about it, right? But they're never going to talk about it, okay? Or Newsmax or any of them. Those things that happened down in Georgia that you bring up, aldermen hacking in with a ballpoint pen right in front of the judge, that should have been the #1 story in the news around the world, but they suppress it, okay? Well, if you bring a case, I don't know how they're going to try and suppress this thing on March 15th. This is so important. You guys remember in Arizona when we brought the case, I was going to go to every single state and bring a case with the machines to get rid of them as like defective devices. And Arizona was the first one. Then I went to Alabama. My plaintiffs in the Arizona were actually Carrie Lake before she ran, and Mark Fincham. Well, remember, they shut it down. Then it went to the appeals. It appealed to the Supreme Court in Arizona and all this stuff. Well, that is sitting out there. And it's taken this much time, over a year and a half, almost 2 years, where now we can bring it to the Supreme Court. But one of the things, everybody, is when you bring something there, all this other evidence that we just came to light over the past 6 months is going to be in there. So if it gets the attention of the world, everybody can see. And when you see this, you're going to go, we need to do something. We need to do something now. This isn't about winning or losing. It's about a secure election where people, countries like, look at Argentina. One judge made a ruling, hey, we can't use these machines anymore. And they went to paper ballots in 4 months, and they freed their country for the first time in decades. You had Taiwan do a paper ballot election, freed their country from China, stop the steal of their country. Ecuador just 2 weeks ago. These are countries that we have to have elections like France, Germany, UK, Netherlands, they don't have machines, you guys. This is what we have to get to.
Mike, I have a question, and well, it seems like you're a really good problem solver. So, you saw something wrong with pillows, and you created a solution for that.
Right.
You saw the censorship back then, a few years ago, and Frank's speech was created, which at the time was a disappointment because the hype, the buildup was so great, and then the site just did not live up to its expectations. But now it's a site that's bringing on Lou Dobbs. You have a site with an impressive lineup of people, and it looks like I'm going to be on there pretty soon.
Right on.
Yeah. So what's your? I mean, Fox News canceled MyPillow. Is your goal with Frank to replace Fox News?
My goal. Well, let's go back then. Now, was it a success or not? 3 years ago in the spring of 21, the reason it was created because the media quit attacking me. If you want to silence Mike Lindell, don't even mention my name. You couldn't even Google my name. You couldn't find me. Boom, they just silenced me. So I go, wow, how are we going to get the word out? Now, when I put Lindell TV and Frank's Speech, they attacked Frank's Speech, which is also a platform like a Rumble. It's got all, and like a YouTube, all these, there's thousands of podcasters on there. So what they did is they attacked that part of it, but that voice kept going through that stream. There was one time I think I talked for 12 hours straight. I had this,
I remember that.
Voice kept going. So it was a success back then in that space. But you say now it's manifest to this amazing Lindell TV and FrankSpeech.com. We have Lou Dobbs, Emerald Robinson, Steve Bannon, myself. You're right. It's a huge lineup, George. We're welcoming you on board. What I want it to be is the biggest communication platform ever in history. And to get the word out, not just about election platforms, but maybe the way news used to be. Maybe the way it used to be, where you actually can talk about things without getting sued or getting censored or getting, it's the voice of the people, and that's what I view. As far as Fox News and Newsmax and places like that, what they become. Everybody is weather channels, and what I mean by weather channels, let's say they were a weather channel, they have a list in front of them of things they can't talk about. And one of them would be hurricanes or tornadoes if they were that weather channel. You can't, when you're Fox News and Newsmax and you can't talk about our election platforms, that's it. Everything else you talk about is meaningless. Oh, we got people coming over the border. We've got to do this and do that. Those are manifestations of an election platform, of stolen elections and other things. You better fix this or you're never going to fix this other stuff. It'd be too late.
So this is why this is precisely why I believe this country isn't dead yet. Because I mean, look how passionate. Just Mike, your passion is 10 times all our passions right now. This is why this country can't end. By the grace of God, we have people like you with the kind of energy. You have to be operating on a divine assignment because you're on a different. I mean, I don't know if you sleep really. Like you might sleep for 3 hours, but I see you everywhere. I believe if we ever created a cure to some kind of disease that was airborne, it'd be like Mike Lindell's energy. We need airborne cures, and you're running around everywhere. I'll talk to someone about Wisconsin. Mike's down here. I'll talk to someone about Georgia. Mike's down here. You're in Florida for an indictment.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Mike's everywhere. Down here. So it's really unique, the energy you have. And
I have a question based upon what you just brought up, George. And this was one of the questions I had on here. And I've actually got two. One's dealing with the AGs across the nation. But the other big one I have for you, Mike, based upon what George just said, where do you feel, this is more of an opinion, but I believe we're going to get Trump for 4 more years solely by God's grace. I believe it's going to be a period of grace for our nation. I could be totally wrong on this. I do not claim to be a prophet. But I wonder if we don't get the ship righted in those 4 years, if God is kind of done with America, and I'm not talking strictly even with elections, I think if you look at the social fabric of America and how far we've ditched God to the side right now, it is very troubling. And everything else, I'm looking at political solutions to problems, but ultimately, I think the only real chance America has is a full-throated spiritual revival.
Well,
What are your thoughts on that, Mike?
yeah, and absolutely. And this is when I spoke from the Rose Garden. That was in the spring of 19, right before the spring of 20, right before the China virus. And I spoke from the Rose Garden, and I said, God's given us grace for such a time as this. We need to spend time and get back in our Bibles and read the Word and all this. And people come up to me all the time. They go, Mike, this doesn't feel like grace. I prayed and my prayers weren't answered and all this. I said, you know what? Those are reactionary prayers. I said, I used to do that all the time when I was in jail. And I said, you know what? Those reactionary prayers might not be God's will. And I said, where is God's will? God's will is in the Word. So if you stay in the Word, you can be proactive prayer and they line up beautifully. That's one piece of this. Now, I tell people all the time, but I just did a speech in Florida 2 days ago, and I'm heading to Illinois today to do at least 9 of them over a 3-day period. One of the things I will bring up in every one of them speeches is we have been given grace. Right now is our grace. We're living in the best time to be alive. This country is not, we took God out of our schools and all this stuff, and evil was winning. But the 2020 election was one of the most important things to ever happen to our country for a lot of reasons. If Donald Trump would have been flipped back in right away, we would have never known what we know now. We never known. Evil would have been hidden. We're done. We are done. It's over. And then you're right. We're downhill. We don't have a chance. It's over. All the believers will go to heaven, call it a day. It's over. It's the end time.
It's so interesting, Mike. You talk about.
I believe with God's grace He's given us now is all these things going on out there in the last 3 years. The evil, it's a spiritual battle of evil and good that's a biblical proportions. It's historical. And as this goes on, as bad things keep happening and people see it, people dying from fentanyl overdose, people pouring over the border, all these horrible things, the economy, people are pouring into this bucket. And this bucket isn't just the mega bucket. This is the Jesus Christ bucket. This bucket, they're reaching out to God because in January or in December of 2019, their physical lives have been awesome. Everything that manifests, everybody's lives have improved, but they weren't giving God the glory and reaching out to Him. But they're doing that now. They're reaching out and praying and pouring in. God is that hope. Now, I said this to our real president the other day. I said, and he said the same things that you just said, Neil. He said, they're destroying our country so bad because I told him it's all in God's timing, sir. Even the bad things are pouring, coming into this bucket and you're reaching out to God. And he said, but Mike, things are getting destroyed so bad. He goes to get everything back to even better than before, and he's talking about that. I said, sir, with God, all things are possible. And with God working through you, as and it can be done very fast. And he agreed on that. It's going, you know what? If anybody can do it, he can, because God has chosen him for such a time as this. And now this isn't just a 4-year fix. What we're doing now with everything that has been revealed, when we get, and that starts with your elections, with your platforms. When we get through this, one of the things he said at a rally in Iowa, he said, it got the biggest applause. He said, the day I get in there, and we got to get enough to win. We got to get enough to get in there. But the day I get in there, we're going to get to 1-day voting, paper ballots, hand counting, and the crowd went crazy. Because everybody knows now it all starts there. And I am solely confident. Now people say, well, what if he doesn't get in? Well, I believe that he will one way or another, because I believe that now, as secure as we have so many of these states and counties that I have with the LindellPlan.com, you go there and the deviations would stand out so much. Imagine if you can't steal in a third of the United States, and now the steel would have to be so big over here. It'd almost be like Georgia. Remember that last Democrat lady that got 0 votes in her own precinct, her and her husband live in. That's pretty, they should have gave her 2 votes, and they would have said, nobody loves you but your husband, ma'am. If they gave her 1 vote, they probably, if they would have gave her 1 vote, she'd probably be in divorce court right now.
So, Mike, you said something, and I really, I'm in a Bible study right now, and we're going through Judges 6. This is the story of Gideon. And what you said relates exactly to this. And I was thinking the same thing. This is why I asked that question. In Judges 6:1, it says, the people of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord gave them into the hand of Midian 7 years. And the hand of Midian overpowered Israel. And because of Midian, the people of Israel made for themselves the dens that are in the mountains and the caves and the strongholds for whenever the Israelites planted crops. So basically what this is it's a story of a nation unrepentant and not seeking God. And God's grace was to give them over into the hand of the Midianites and the Amalekites. And then Gideon steps forward while he's hiding. He's hiding and he's fearful. He is in hiding because he fears them.
He needed like 50 different signs from God that it was actually him. He was like, Lord, okay, if this is you, take this MyPillow, make it wet, but the whole ground is dry. It was beautiful. And
it's one of the best stories in the Bible because it shows that God actually will meet us where we're at.
Right.
He had multiple fears, and then God gave him multiple signs.
Yeah, Neil, in handing them over to the Midianites, what if the alternative was just complete destruction of them? Because God's justice takes a lot of precedence, but his grace is also equally as huge. So as huge as Trump's win in 2024 in Jesus' name. So imagine that. God levels it out by handing them over to the Midianites, and that drives them to call on his name, and that's his grace. Or the story of Habakkuk, where this prophet is getting some visions of Israel and the land getting besieged by this terrible empire. And then he's crying to God like, Lord, what is this? Is this you? I thought you were our God. And God's like, no, that's my plan. They're going to destroy you. But in doing so, they're going to cause you to repentance. So that's exactly what's going on, I feel. And
absolutely. And I only did 1 speech ever off a teleprompter, and I did it in August. If you want to get a chance to see it, everybody, it's at frankspeech.com. It's called How We Got Here. And it was an hour speech, everybody. And in there, I tell you time after time, if, for instance, I go back to where it was the 2 senator runoffs in Georgia, and I got on my knees and prayed on January 4th of 2021 and said, God, please let them steal both the senators. And everyone says to me, what? You did this, Mike? And I'm going, because I'm a marketer. And at that point in time, evil should have said, if they were in their war room and said, give them back a Republican so they shut up about the election. We were caught. We're caught. And if they would have done that, everyone would have said, come on, Mike, don't worry. We still got the Senate. We'll get them back in 2022. Well, instead, if they'd have done that, I'm telling you, we wouldn't be talking right now, right? It would be over. We lose our country forever. Now, but they were evil is greedy, and they took them both. Why? Because they had the January 6th set up safety net for them. And then you had January 7th and 8th, where they had 1.2 million Americans were deplatformed. Our voice was crushed. Anyone else that had not spoke out was silenced in fear. And that's where they tried that, where they didn't quite win. Our voice was a little tiny dot. And since then, it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And all the stuff that's happened since then, I've said it before in that speech. If Donald Trump, if they'd have turned it over to Donald Trump on December 14th by the Supreme Court, when I stood out in front of there and spoke to 500,000 people, and by the way, there was only 6 cops out there. There wasn't no problems. It was beautiful. We just, peaceful protests out there. Hey, you guys, listen up, Supreme Court, and they voted against doing it. But had they done that, everybody, it'd be over. Because what's happened in the last 3 years is all evil was revealed. All the problems were revealed, and they're getting solved. And during that time, more and more people are pouring over to Jesus. They're pouring. We're the greatest revival in history right now. There's no, this had to happen, like you say, George, for people to repent. A nation had turned its back on God. We took God out of our schools and all this. And by the way, we're not a divided country, everybody. This isn't a 50-50 nonsense. It's about 90%. People are pouring, and it went from 70 up to 90%. I'm not talking about parties. I'm talking about people that want whatever the solution is, okay? The 10%, this nonsensical, evil stuff, that's the 10%. The problem is they have the media. They have everything behind them. They have the evil is powerful, but they're greedy, and that's where our benefit is. That's what we have. Evil is greedy, and they don't care. But by their greed, it's opening more and more people's eyes. So they come pouring into this bucket. And hey, if we're wrong, George, you ready for this one? You ready? If we're wrong and Donald Trump doesn't get in and it just goes crashing down, hey, it's a win-win. All us believers go to heaven. Everyone over the last 3 years that poured into this bucket, we go to heaven for eternity. It's a win-win.
Yeah. I'll be with Jesus, man.
Mike, I know I want to be respectful of your time. I know we've kept you over longer than I initially.
No worries.
Okay. I did. There's a question I did get to ask you on here, and that was, what is your favorite form of hunting?
I'd say goose hunting, duck and goose hunting. Maybe it's because it was my first hunting. Did with my dad way back in the day, and no, I love goose and duck hunting. And then if I had, I'd probably go then to pheasant and deer and the next thing, but duck and goose. Love it.
Do you have a hunting dog then?
No, all my friends do.
Okay.
It's funny because growing up, I hardly ever hunted with a dog. I'd be out there in the swamp swimming around after that. If I was, my friends tell me, if there's something down, I'm going to get it.
That's right. You got to get it. If it's down.
I'm pretty famous. I do one of the things if we have no geese coming into our pond or whatever, I said, okay, guys, we got to bring the hunt to the geese. And so we go out there, we go find them.
Yeah, that's right. I love it. We'll have to go. I'd love to do a spring snow goose hunt out in South Dakota. I haven't done one in a few years, but
yeah, we do that every year in South Dakota, and we have a blast. We go up to Pollock, South Dakota. I've hunted up there. I've hunted in southern South Dakota, all over southern South Dakota. Usually that's where we go lately, but that's a lot of fun. And they, hunted in the pits before. I do both, but I'm one that likes to bring the hunt to the geese, with the snow geese, yes. Whether it's sneaking up on them or, it's hard. That's a challenge when you got, all it takes is one smart goose, that they're gone, They're
gone. It's over. Yeah. Can you just share with the audience? You put together some specials for the show. I just want you to share those again, since there's different folks on now.
Yeah, and you got if you use the promo code Lumberjack, everybody, we've got it's free shipping on your entire order, and that's an exclusive there. And we've got the MyPillow. These are the Giza Dream premium MyPillows. The queens are on sale. It's right around $25. I don't have it for me. And the kings are like $29. So you have those, but you have the percale sheets. We're doing an overstock special on that. And the queens are 26, I believe 98. And the kings are a king's at 29.98. Guys, this is like cost. We've got all these percale sheets that came in. And remember, a lot of them were earmarked for the box store, believe it or not, the ones we had left, and they canceled this fall. So we've got their loss is your gain, everybody. And we've got our blankets on sale, all the blankets we have.
The down comforters.
Our towel sets, by the way, when I invent something or improve on something, towels was one of my most proudest moments, because towels, they don't dry. They feel all slimy in the store, like soft, and you get them home and they don't dry. So we reverse engineers what a towel should be. And our towel sets that came out at $59.98, we got them on sale with your promo code Lumberjack, $29.98. And they actually work. 6-piece towel set. They dry you. What a concept. Towels do what they're supposed to do. And we actually have kitchen towels coming in that do the same thing now. And you know what I'm going to hit up next, I think, is restaurants. You ever get them? They're supposed to be napkins and they're like plastic. You don't even dry it. All these problems I see out there, that's what we reverse. So one of the things is to help, you're helping MyPillow, which is an employee-owned company, by helping them, everybody, knowing that they're secure, I can go out every day and finish the job to secure our elections and help save our country. You're doing your part, and you're getting products that are going to help you. And like you said, you don't live with the MyPillow at home without it. Once you get one with that adjustability, that patented feel, you can't go back to a pillow because you're going to be, down is a downer. People, those pillows go down. You use your arm, you fold them. The hotels, they have marketers. They don't sleep on those pillows. You think those are some salesman that sold them a bunch of down pillows. That's why they call them down. Down's a downer. Okay, it's bad news, right? When that goes down, you're using your arm, you're flip flopping, stacking up pillows. Here you adjust that pillow, and we've got so many great products. We got our beds. You guys, we have our beds and our bed toppers, 100% made in the USA. I reversed everything a bed should be. Everything it should be to help your delta sleep. Remember, you have REM sleep where your pillows are, your brain's recalibrating. Then you go into these sleep cycles. It's called delta sleep. So when you're laying in your bed, I don't care if it's a new bed or old bed, if you wake up in the morning, you have aches and pains, you need a different input to get a different output. It's not going to change. What do you think? You're going to wear the bed out more so it gets to that perfect thing? No, you get one of my mattress toppers, you put it on there, and boom, you're gonna feel great in the morning. And
my kids have those and swear by them, Mike. I mean, they just absolutely love the MyPillow mattress toppers.
Yeah,
and look, again,
because they work. And one other thing too, I want to say for your promo code Lumberjack too. You guys, I have another platform I built for 3 years ago, but it's been kind of sitting idle, and now it's revved up to go. It's mystore.com. You can go to mystore.com. There's 1,000 entrepreneurs there with stories just like mine. USA made product using promo code Lumberjack. You guys can save there and shop there and help these families. They're getting just hammered because of the economy. Then if they go up on Amazon, they get copied in China, and boom, you go into a store. Oh, there's my product. It's horrible. So we protect the entrepreneurs too. So it's a win-win-win-win, and these great products. And that's what they're trying to destroy when they're trying to attack me. And there's your number there, huh?
Yep, I put it up there. So
yeah, 800-568-2865. You guys call it, my operators. They've been attacked too. These home reps, the IRS went after them and said, you can't work from home anymore. We beat that in 2 states already. We stopped them. They want to just destroy MyPillow, so I can't be out there shouting out to to the rooftops that, hey, we've got to secure our elections and save our country. So there you go. Call them up. They'll give you the savings there. You guys, it's a win-win-win. We lost all the box stores, but we count on all of you. And I'll tell you what, your audience, Neil, has been tremendous support of MyPillow. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I love my audience. I always say I got one of the best audiences. I have a core group of loyal listeners who I can cover like news that I want to cover. YouTube is an algorithmic world. George and I talk about this all the time, where you're trying to get content out that you really want to get out.
Right.
But right now, there's certain news stories that everybody clicks on. So you got to cover some of those to build the audience, to get out the stories you really want to get out. And Mike, your story is one I really want to get out. I've done multiple videos on you, but one of the things I appreciate so much is you are unwilling to get rid of people in your business. You see this. I honestly believe this. And folks, this is no smoke. Mike sees his business as a ministry opportunity. He sees it as a chance to help recovering addicts. He gives them jobs people nobody else would give jobs to. It's actually one of the most heartwarming business stories I've ever heard, Mike. And I really thank you for what you're doing for people. Because so many people just automate.
Yeah, and that's what every company should do, I believe. One of the things we do, if we have like I say, 500 of my employees have my direct number. If someone comes in and there's a deviation in their behavior, I used to call myself. Now I have a gal that works in that department, but we'll reach out to them and find out what their addiction is or what's going on in their life. We will actually take them put them in treatment, a faith-based treatment, by the way, Teen Challenge,
Praise God.
something we know is that works, by the way. They work. Secular treatments have 5% success. Faith-based 90%. Which way are you going to go? We're going to put them here, and we actually pay them while you're in there. We take away every excuse why they wouldn't go in. Oh, I got to support my family. You're not, you're not doing a good job right now. Okay, you're not. You got this addiction thing going on. So we bring them in there, and we pay for them while they're in there, and they come out, and it's worked for us. And it's another thing. If my employees, if they have a death or a life-threatening injury to a relative or whatever, or if a death in someone that was close to them, they can stay out and we pay them until they're ready to come back. And I used to hate it way back in the day when I worked at a grocery store back in the 70s. And one of the things, I had a relative or a friend that died, and I couldn't go because it wasn't, a direct relative or whatever. And I couldn't get off work. I go, this is horrible. And so we don't question the employees how close they were to the person, or if it's a neighbor, a loved one, whatever. They just can go, and we pay them while they're out. And you know what? Nobody's ever abused that, but some people needed extra time, and it's worked. Or people that are out life-threatening, and they're so it's and people, like I say, you'd be surprised if people would take advantage. No, they don't. They just know we care. It's like a big family all the way down, and so it's been very dear to me. And I want to tell everyone out there too, that LindellRecoveryNetwork.org. If you have someone in addiction, don't just say, oh, they're incorrigible, they'll never change. Addicts listen to other addicts' stories of success. And everyone knows who I am. And what they might not know, I was an ex-crack cocaine addict, and amongst many other addictions. So if there's an addict out there, they all got a phone, and you just tell them, go to Lindell Recovery Network. They're going to go there, and they're going to spend days on that site. And they can just go around, and it's free. And then, and when they come out of that, getting off their addictions is just a bonus. Finding Jesus is the real win. And it's been an amazing platform to help people.
Oh, thanks, Mike. Thanks for everything. Thanks for everything you do for the country. I guess I'm going to give George a chance at final thoughts, and then we'll close it out. Final question, I think, George.
Nothing in particular. I'm going to go vote, so hopefully they don't do anything. I'm going to vote. Mike, I really had this. By the way, did you know this, Mike? I had 2 extra mail-in ballots sent to my house for people that live in California. Did you know that? I'm going to grab them for you because I don't know. You might like it.
Yeah, he won't like it, but
I just in Minnesota, they're voting.
Right here, 2 mail-in ballots, and the crazy thing was, this was like a normal election with like statewide issues. There was no presidential, and they still got extra mail-in ballots. And the crazy thing is, they didn't send those ballots for the mayoral election, or they didn't do it now for this primary. I wonder what they're going to send me in November. It's going to be
right,
crazy.
Exactly. Right now, there's an election going on in my home state of Minnesota, and I'm getting texts going, "Hey, the machines are down. They're just telling you to put the ballot in a box." And what that does, then it becomes basically a mail-in ballot, kind of like what they did to Kerry Lake down in Arizona when they shut down 242 machines simultaneously. I'm going to say this on your show too. Everybody vote same day. It's harder for them to steal. I don't care if you hear it from people all the way, Republicans and people going, they're just misconstrued. I know what I know. My team's been on this for 3 years. You need to vote same day. Obviously, if you can't vote same day and they think, yes, then vote early. But if you can, vote in person. But you guys get the Mike Lindell Courage app, and you'll see everything you can do in your own neighborhood to encourage other people that hadn't voted to go vote. There's other things you can do, but to vote early, you need to vote same day. And I don't care. Well, what if the machines don't work on election day, like Kerry Lake? Well, you know what? If they do that again, believe me, the people are not going to stand for it. You don't keep using machines that don't work. North Carolina and South Carolina, everybody, a week and a half ago, if everyone's seen that, you didn't see this on Fox News either. They shut down South Carolina. They couldn't, the voting things, and the reason is because they said the internet was down. Well, what? I thought the machines weren't online. Come on.
Exactly. They're not on the internet.
Yeah, they're not on the internet. Well, and, why did the news media pick that up? Is just crazy. But as we get closer, I want everybody to watch for March 15th. This is going to give you more hope than you've had in a long, long time, everybody. As this gets dropped on the Supreme Court on March 15th, and you're hearing it here first on this program. Neil,
this is cool. I mean, we're exclusive. We're like breaking exclusive stuff
here.
This
is breaking news. I just got permission an hour and a half ago from the lawyers. I need to tell everyone about it, because if we bring it there and the media doesn't pick it up and nobody knows about it, they'll just suppress it or throw it back, and then it doesn't matter. You can have all the evidence in the world, but if people don't know about it, it doesn't matter. And the world we're in now, the lives we've been in for 3 years, it's like, if a tree falls in the forest and there's nobody there to hear it, did it really happen? Well, what they're telling us, there isn't even a forest. There's no forest. What do you mean?
Oh, Mike, I want to thank you so much. I met you first at a Trump rally. Actually, it was Mike Pence was up in Hibbing, and then I met you again at the symposium down in South Dakota, and you gave me that pillow code. That was such a big deal, because that was the same time YouTube had demonetized me. I've been up to to 2 strikes on 2 different occasions, and I just had to stop producing because I wanted to save the platform for what it was. Yeah. But you gave me that promo code, and quite frankly, it allowed me to continue doing what I'm doing. So I always tell people, it's like a triple dip when you buy something from MyPillow, because you get to save big money using the promo code. You get to support a great patriot in Mike Lindell and his business. You get to support this show, and actually, it's a quadruple dip. This is the quadfecta in business. It's actually a quadruple, because you also get to support Mike's election integrity efforts, because if he can get the business solid, he can focus on the other things. But he's got to take care of the business, because he's got a lot of families. Their lives are on the line. I mean, when you own a business that big, of that size, and that many people are working for you, they depend on the business owner to deliver. And you're out there working hard in so many fronts every day, Mike. I just really want to thank you for all you've done for me, for the country, for all of us.
And thanks. And you're right. And all the podcasters that are out there, when they try to silence them all by having MyPillow, that's another reason evil wants to destroy MyPillow, because it helps us everyone because to support great shows like yourself here, Neil. And promo code Lumberjack, everybody. Come on. Let's go.
Let's go. Get some pillows. Sheets for $30 for King sheets. That's nuts.
It's amazing. And George, you get over to Lindell TV, you get your own code, then you can come on Neil's show and put your code out on his show. We have hosts that fight over codes,
See, we all share an audience, so I just tell my people, if you're supporting Mike, just use Lumberjack or whichever friend's code comes on my mind.
Folks, thanks so much for listening. Do me a favor, on the way out, please do smash that thumbs up, that likes button. It really does help get the stream out there. And I don't care how you share this stream. If you want to just screen capture and clip whatever you want out of this, the highlights, and share that on social media. I don't like have some sort of copyright crazy mind about this stuff. Just get the information out there, please. Do whatever you need to do. Share it wherever you can. Take video clips, share them to Twitter, share them to Facebook, share them wherever. But just get the information out there. And thanks so much for listening. You really are the best audience. Thanks for all those super chats today as well. And we'll see you on the next episode.